down on this. Now, I'm not sure that's actually the volume. Oh, okay. Okay, now is it more reasonable? Okay. So what's the, I guess I have to, anyway, but what's a Jantzen filtration? And then Jeff will talk about how Atlas displays information about Jantzen filtration, so that'll be more fun. So the simplest setting is you have some finite dimensional complex vector space and a family. This is analytic in T. Well, for some values of T, and I'll just, well, what I want to, so these are Hermitian forms. And what I want to assume is that, that for most T, that they're non-degenerate. And then the question is, well, what this easily implies is that the signature is constant on on intervals with no degeneracy. I should say that these assumptions mean that degeneracy happens at a discrete set of T's. I mean, degeneracy has to do with vanishing of some determinant if you choose coordinates appropriately, and things are set up so that the determinant is an analytic function of T. And so the zeros are going to be at some discrete set, and the question is, how does the signature change at this bad discrete set? So I want to fix some T0 so that this form is maybe degenerate. And I want to explain to you the Jantzen filtration. Well, it's a filtration on V, and what the definition is, V0 is all of V. V1 is the set of V in V such that W sub T has a zero at T equals T0 for all W in V. And then what's interesting is how you define the higher order well, roughly, VK is the set of V such that this VW sub T vanishes to order K, but that statement is, well, that statement is for all W in V, that statement is precise but incorrect. This isn't the right, that's really what you want. It's the set of V so that there's an analytic E sub V, well, R to V with order K at T equals T0. The phi sub V of T0 is equal to V, and this inner product phi sub V of TW, this vanishes to order well, greater than or equal to K at T equals T0 for all W and W. So that, sorry?
Can you give an example of the difference between the two that's easy?
Let me see if I can one thing that you can see is that this is that this defines that this is a bigger space than in the wrong definition. I mean, one analytic function you're allowed to use is the constant function, and that was, you know, what's demanded here is that there should be some v, and so this says the constant function.
First of all, the subtlety arrives only when k is larger than 1 for v1?
Yes. So if it's kind of clear that this condition, that this depends only on, well, sort of, on phi v, well, up to order k minus 1. In other words, if I put in t minus 1 to the k times something, x w, and I t minus t0. If I put a term that looked like this, this automatically vanishes to order at least k at t equals t0. So in the Taylor expansion of phi v, the higher order terms don't matter. It's just, you know, if I write phi v of t, it is v0 plus t minus t0. Well, I'm sorry, I've changed v to v0, but like this, that only this v0, which is v, and V1 up to Vk minus 1 matter, because the higher order terms will automatically vanish. So if k is equal to 1, nothing matters. That's the reason the two definitions are the same for k equals 1. So the answer to Dan's question is probably no. I can't give a clear example. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to, what I wanted to say is, if V is a G module, and these forms are all invariant for some representation pi t of G, then if you try to prove that Vk is G invariant, then this will fail with the bad definition. If you write this down carefully, it won't work. You're sort of forced into this better definition. I won't try to do this. I mean, I suggest this as an exercise. Yeah. Okay. So let me say what Jantzen says. That's the definition, and then it's clear that you can define a Hermitian form level k on Vk, and what it is if you have two things, the fact that they belong here is given by, well, phi sub v, phi sub w. So these are the functions that put v and w in Vk, and so by the definition, this function of t vanishes to order greater than or equal to k at t equals t0. So I can divide it by t minus t0 to the k. And then set t equals t0. So this makes sense, and this is the Janssen's observation is that this form is Hermitian on Vk, and it has radical exactly equal to Vk plus 1. And so you get this non-degenerate form on the associated graded, what do I call them? Well, this sum over k of Vk over Vk plus 1. So that's the Jantzen idea, and in the representation theory world, what happens is so if V now is these if these things are GK modules with these various structures, I don't know, pi t, and this family of forms invariant for pi t. So this is typically going to be some parameter x lambda t nu. That's the setting that Jeff talked about. Then what happens is that this Vk is a GK invariant filtration for, well, this pi t0, and these forms, these Jantzen forms are well, non-degenerate, invariant Hermitian forms on this GUR. So that's the basic story, and the well, as I say, the fact that they're G invariant subspaces is that's where you need this funny definition, and so want to recall what we sort of hinted at, that the Kajlan-Lustig theory says that the multiplicity of some irreducible J in the standard, I don't know, maybe I'll call it J of Q in this standard I of P, it is given by some Kajlan-Lustig, well, Q was a bad name, maybe I'll call it, I don't know, R. This is some Kajlan-Lustig Q polynomial indexed by R and P, evaluated at 1. And now we can refine that statement. The multiplicity of J of R in level K of this Jantzen well, so level K means the multiplicity in ik over ik plus 1. This is equal to a certain coefficient of this and I'm not going to write down the coefficient because I get it wrong, but that's the values of one of the polynomial are giving multiplicities in this big reducible representation. And now I've said with these forms, we can make a natural filtration of this guy, and so this big multiplicity in the whole irreducible gets broken up into multiplicities in various levels, and that the multiplicities in various levels, they're the coefficients of this Kazhdan-Lustig polynomial. And so the last, this fact is due to Bailenson and Bernstein, and it's a very serious, this is hard. The people who have tried to make sense of this paper, it's hard. This is harder than the Kazhdan-Lustig statements. The last comment is that these levels, ik over ik plus 1, are completely reducible. They might certainly be zero, absolutely. But I mean, the standard modules are certainly not completely reducible, but the SGUR, they are.
And remind me, this isn't enough to say that they're completely reducible?
No. You can have a non-degenerate form on. So it isn't easy to have a non-degenerate form on a representation that fails to be completely reducible. So one of the things that's not allowed is, I mean, you know.
If you restrict it to an irreducible, yeah.
Something like this can't have a non-degenerate form. Because this would be a subspace, and well, this M2 perp would be a complement, and well, yeah. Anyway, it's not possible, but it is possible to have something like you could have a three-step extension like that. There are modules that look like that have invariant Hermitian forms, and the form is then degenerate. It's zero on this subspace, but the orthogonal complement of this, well, anyway.
But you need to kind of, you can't just go with two M's?
You might be able to, yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily need the guy in the middle. Two M's you might be able to do. Yeah, the Hermitian dual has to flip the submodule structure, and so the submodule structure has to be self-dual to have a non-degenerate form. And so a self-extension looks possible, and I'm saying that it's easy to make examples where there are extensions with 3 steps like this, but it's possible to make examples where there are 2-step extensions. So yeah, it's not free. Anyway, so Jeff's gonna tell you some decent examples.
So this coefficient is the coefficient of q to the k, or?
Right.
No, it's not q to the k. It's there's some formula that relates k to, yeah, some coefficient. Secretly, the Cauchy-Lustig polynomials should be thought of as polynomials in q to the 1/2. And it's just luck that there's only integer powers of q. And if you try to see what coefficient corresponds to what level, it's better if you think of it as a polynomial in q to the 1/2. Jeff will,
You'll see.
yeah. Great.
Into the microphone.
Oh, Ellen.
In constant with the definition of Jantzen filtration, you need the Hermitian form or define?
So, I think everything I said is true for representations that have Hermitian forms. But certainly, it's complicated. You certainly don't need Hermitian forms to define Cauchy-Lustig polynomials. I'll be right back.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be, but this isn't.
The unmuting didn't work?
No, oh. No, I'm not talking about the mic, I'm talking about the video.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the video. I muted Windows 1 and 2.
Oh, why'd you do that? Oh, mute. That's a weird term. Okay, so I want to show you how Atlas presents
the Jantzen filtration. So, of course, we're going to start with SL2R. And the command is print graded composition series. So this is the Jantzen filtration. So G is SL2R. It's giving you the composition series of this standard module. And we already know that this standard module has 3 composition factors, the principal series and 2 discrete series. And this is a little bit of extra information about how they fit together. And these 3 columns are some information to help you figure out what's going on. And the part of the matter is this last thing. And the way you read this is reading horizontally are the levels of the filtration. So in this example, you have discrete series, principal series, and it says 1 dot 1 dot 1. And what that says is that this irreducible is occurring in the top level of the Jantzen filtration, that's the quotient. And these two irreducibles are occurring in level 1 of the Jantzen filtration. So this says that there's this I of P, and it contains, this is I of P sub 0, and that contains I of P sub 1, and that contains 0. And this quotient is the trivial, and this quotient is the discrete series, sum of the two discrete series. And that table, is derived from these columns. This last Q, that's the Cauchy-Mustig polynomial. In this case, they're constants, but if there were Q's, they would show up there. And what David was talking about is that, the way I think of it is that the default depth, the default place for a composition factor to appear is given by its length. And if the Cauchy-Mustig polynomials are all constant, then the terms all appear at that level of the Jantzen filtration, given by this length difference. All these stands for length difference. If a polynomial is not constant, then terms can appear further below. So let me do another example. So here, this says that the top level is this representation of length 0, and then there are 3 representations which occur at length 1, and then there are 3 more representations which occur at length 2, and this one has multiplicity 2, and then 2 more which occur at level 3 of the Jantzen filtration. So there's sort of no surprises here. Everything's at its natural level. The dots are meant to indicate that you know that